Welcome to Peralta Matters. I am your host, Jay Calhoun. This episode is dealing with part 2 of our Summer of Science. So, sit back, relax, and let's get into what matters here at Peralta.
I'm Congresswoman Barbara Lee. Join me in watching Peralta TV.
Welcome to another episode of Peralta Matters. I am your host, Jay Calhoun. We are now joined by COA instructor Patti Tsai. Patti, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming on.
Nice to be here.
Let's talk first about what you do at COA.
I've been teaching physics at COA for about 11 years, and I teach an intro class as well as a 3-semester sequence.
Outstanding. We talked a little bit off camera about your career path. Give us a little bit about that. How'd you get to COA?
Well, I actually taught for the same amount of time, 11 years, at Grossmont College in East San Diego County, and then I applied for an opening here, and I was really fortunate to get it.
Outstanding. Tell us a little bit about your physics class. What can students expect in your first physics class? Well,
what I really try and emphasize in my own classes is to put together, to integrate the concepts of physics with some of the more analytical and calculational aspects.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of times students get stuck in the equations and they don't really look up, and hopefully by developing a conceptual understanding, it can help them make sense of some of the mathematics.
Outstanding. We were talking in one of our other episodes about some of the glaring, I would say, misnomers or obstacles when it comes to the general perception of science, especially in certain climates and certain circles. What do you do as an instructor at COA and in physics to kind of, give your students this isn't my regular boring old physics class? How do you make it so that they're interested, one, and intrigued to learn the information?
That's a really good question. I don't know how successful I am, but I certainly try. I try and keep all of the elements of a course sort of focused on the main ideas. So that if, for example, in first semester physics we're studying different kinds of motion, all of the laboratory assignments will be, all of the laboratory exercises will be directed towards learning about different aspects of motion. And the homework exercises, exams and quizzes will have a certain conceptual element to them, as well as some of the more mathematical elements.
Right.
Does that answer your question?
That answers it perfectly. What would you tell me is the climate of the science department at COA?
Well, at COA, and I've also been really fortunate to teach at Laney and BCC.
Outstanding.
I think that we have really good instructors. I think we have really good students. We have a big mix of students. Some of them are high school students. Many of them are returning students. And so those returning students come at all levels. Some of them have been in the working world for just a few years. Some of them are changing careers and they want to get a job in a completely different field, and so they need the prerequisites for that particular field. So it's really satisfying to help students get to where they want to go. Whether it's an alternative health field like acupuncture or something more traditional like medical school, or possibly more typically a career in engineering or the sciences.
So in some respects you cover the, I'm fulfilling a prerequisite to this is my major field and this is a specific course that I have to take. You're seeing all of those students.
Yes, yes. Now, to be realistic, most of the students who enroll in any science class aren't going to be a physics major, a biology major, or a chemistry major. Most of them are taking it because they're going to be in a related field.
Right. Gotcha.
But we try to include enough rigor so that a student who's going into that area will have the tools that they need. But I think it's sort of important to emphasize that the skills to be successful when you transfer are more general than just the skills necessary to be a good physics major or chemistry major or biology major.
Totally understand. Give me real quickly your best case scenario, or your utopic physics classroom. How would it look?
Well, that's a really great question. You know, students usually come with their own motivation. And sometimes you get a group that is just, it's sort of like they're ready to learn. And it's very hard to motivate someone to learn. But as long as the student is ready to learn, even if their background is a little bit weak, there's usually ways to work with them. They might have personal circumstances where they need to take advantage of some of the resources. Peralta has really good resources. We have mental health counseling, and our student services can help students get in touch with resources in the community that they need. But a student who's sort of ready to learn and willing to put in to the class, I guess really at any level, that's kind of what a teacher's dream is.
Outstanding.
And you know, they may be very capable. We get post-baccalaureate students who are coming for prerequisite courses for another degree. And so then to have a student like that, now that is wonderful. That's a really wonderful experience. But it doesn't have to be that a student is that far along in order to be really just a pleasure to work with.
Outstanding. Well, thank you for your service. We appreciate it, Patti.
Well, I appreciate being asked to come today.
Outstanding, outstanding. We'll be right back in a few minutes with Peralta Matters.
No matter what you've done in the past, you can start fresh from this point and successfully advance into the future. The professors and counselors at Laney College help me aim high and stay focused on my goals. I am Jamila Akua Williams, and Laney works for me. Where did that come from?
I'm Congresswoman Barbara Lee. Join me in watching Peralta TV.
My first instructor, he wasn't that articulate, but he used to say, you gots to read the book.
The EMT program, it's very intense. If you're not prepared to study, then don't even bother to show up. There's a lot of people in the class who want to be firefighters, myself included.
I want to be a nurse.
Some of them are going to go on to be doctors, like this guy. He'll be a neurosurgeon.
I want to go to medical school, so this is like, you can get some great experience, some great knowledge, and you're going to learn every single part of it.
Bleeding control, CPR, mobilization of the spinal cord. The true skill is the assessment. When they can come in and recognize a cardiac event, recognize a stroke.
You see somebody just sweating and can't breathe very well, and by asking a couple questions, you're able to figure it out, so it makes you feel really good.
I can't teach them everything in here, but if I can just get them started with thinking about assessments, that's the true skill.
Being an EMT just really opens a lot of doors.
And after that, everything falls in place.
Welcome back to Peralta Matters. I am your host, Jay Calhoun. We are now joined by pre-med and former COA student, Anya Desai. Anya, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Outstanding. Let's talk a little bit first about your decision to be pre-med. When did you start that, and when did you make the decision?
Wow. Well, I was a history major, and after graduating from Oberlin College in Ohio, I spent 2 years in India with a fellowship. And I think it was during that time that I sort of started reevaluating things and decided somewhere inside that I wanted to go into medicine.
Okay.
And then I came back and spent about a semester shadowing different professionals, and that just cemented my decision.
Totally.
And so then but I didn't have any science courses. You know, I'd been history and
Where science falls under that.
humanities, social sciences.
Right.
So I looked around, and the courses that I could get into were in Peralta, and so that's when I started taking science.
Outstanding. So in your introduction to the sciences at Peralta, what was your one first impression, and then what was your last impression?
I started with chemistry, and I had a great first impression.
Outstanding.
The teacher was really dynamic, and I was excited. She actually ended up having to leave partway through the semester due to a family emergency.
Okay.
So we got a new teacher in, and yeah, I've been surprised at how great my teachers have been.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Is it because of the junior college misnomer, or?
Yeah. Well, I guess I sort of, because there's no lengthy process to get accepted to the
Right.
you know, the colleges,
Right.
I assumed they would be maybe not as challenging as the courses at Oberlin, and I'd say that is true, but at the same time, your professors are there to teach you. So if you want to go further, they're willing to go further with you, and the diversity in the classes is great. So,
talk a little bit about how Peralta in general, and COA probably in particular, prepared you for your pre-med experience that you're going to walk into.
well, it's helped me. I have to be self-motivated to sort of get all the pieces of my application together.
Right.
And I have amazing support from my professors, writing letters of recommendation, finding contacts for me to talk to.
Right.
But it also teaches you to be independent and to,
Go out there and get it yourself.
yeah, there are good counselors, and I did meet with some counselors. And I mean, I think they teach the information you need to know.
Yeah.
I took the MCAT, I did fine.
Outstanding, outstanding. Do you think that I was talking to a couple of professors on camera, they were saying how one of the ways in which they hope that they're effectively reaching students is trying different approaches to how they deliver this information that could, in some respects, be a little mundane and boring. Or to the person who has just taken this for a prereq versus someone who's really interested in this course. This is kind of, the whole science class. Did you find that their approaches helped you better enjoy the class, better associate with the class, somewhat?
Yeah, I mean, my teachers had different approaches.
Excellent.
And I think I really enjoyed my anatomy class
Why?
last semester. The professor presented material in a way that was very relevant. He used real-life human examples.
Okay.
He used metaphors to describe processes that were going on.
Right.
And I appreciated it because even though he took a slower pace than possibly a course at a university, I felt like I understood what he was talking about, and that I could use the explanations he was giving me to explain it to somebody else.
Right.
Not everybody gets science easily, and being able to explain it different ways.
It's totally half the battle, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Anya, thank you for coming on the show again. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back in a few minutes with Peralta Matters.
Turn the guitars down. It's time to sculpt the sound. Volume's too high. He is not horsing around. Turn the guitars down. It is the classic standoff. We like to play at 11. You like to turn us off. Turn the guitars down.
Welcome back to the Summer of Science here on Peralta Matters. I am your host, Jay Calhoun. We are now joined by Sara Sandhu. Sara, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jay.
It's been a pleasure. So, let's get into the student life of Sara Sandhu.
Oh, let's. Okay.
One, let's talk about how you got to Merritt.
So I came to Merritt by way of UC Berkeley, did my bachelor's degree in English at Berkeley, worked for about a year after I graduated, found myself kind of missing the school life and wanting to learn something entirely different than what I had previously studied. So I looked up some classes online and found Peralta District actually had a lot of openings and went in for nutrition, which was the first step, and got really interested in the sciences from there, and since then I haven't looked back.
Outstanding. We were talking a little bit about your intro to physiology class, was it?
It was a combined intro to anatomy and physiology class, Bio 24.
Give me your experience and what blew you away.
Well, for one, my professor, who is still a mentor to me today, was phenomenal in teaching the material, and he made learning about the human body absolutely an exciting experience.
What was it his approach? Was it the material? Was it, what was it?
Other than his dynamic personality, it was definitely the way he presented the material. There's a lot of visuals, a lot of hands-on, and when you're learning about the human body, you're learning about concepts that you don't really see fully. So when you're able to have visuals to kind of learn more about it, it blows your mind. It really does. Yeah. What
has been not only your experience, but your interpretation, or your what's the word I'm looking for? Your assessment of the science department at Merritt College.
Right now, that science department, the biology department in particular, we're family. We're a team. I never thought that I would be in a position where people that are teaching me all this great stuff know me on a personal level and are really just willing to help me achieve my goals. It's just something, I did not have that full experience at Cal. I don't know if it's because I wasn't myself looking for it, or I really couldn't tell you, but here I just feel like I have so much support, and especially from people who I know are going to teach me things along the way. It's a really nice feeling. So I can definitely say we're a family.
We're talking a little bit about, and I want you to kind of expound on it and tell people why this is a problem or why this is an issue. Women in research, and in particular in science, since it's such a research-based kind of material, why are there few women in research?
It's, for me personally, I found science to be somewhat intimidating at first. I'm not sure if it is, there was a lot of males in my class, and I was intimidated. And to have a mentor, especially like Dr. Giorgi, who is a researcher, as a professor, it kind of gives you just this motivation to want to do that, to want to go into a field where your curiosity drives you, and intimidation all of a sudden doesn't matter. So, yeah.
Within the field in which you want to go to and your outcome, how is Merritt, how is Dr. Giorgi, how are these classes helping prepare you for that next level or that next step in your life?
Well, hopefully I can come back and teach at Merritt. That's honestly
the end game?
That's the end game,
Right
is to
on.
come back
Right on.
and teach at Merritt. So just being a part of their faculty, well, I'm a student now, but to be able to be part of their faculty later on is going to be wonderful. But it's just, when I'm in their classes, not only am I listening to what they're presenting, but I'm also looking at their styles and just kind of perfecting my own game for later on, and it's going to be exciting.
What would be Sara's approach to teaching a physiology class?
Sara's approach to teaching a physiology class, we're going to do a lot of visuals. There's going to be a lot of art. I got to bring the humanities out in me. There's going to be a lot of visual interpretations of physiological processes, and there's going to be a lot of acting in class too. We're gonna get students up out of their seats and
I like it. We'll
parading
have to bring a camera
around.
or something.
Yeah, we got to do that. It'll be great.
Excellent, Sara. It's a pleasure.
Thank
Thanks
you
for coming
so
on
much,
the show. All right, we'll be back in a few minutes with Peralta Matters.
Here, we want to create an atmosphere of students being successful. And so we want students that are motivated, that we can motivate, that will not only come here, but they will achieve. And that's the objective in terms of when we think about Merritt College. We think that we make a difference and we change lives.
I dressed down. I didn't throw on my full chains. I'm trying to do the school thing, get a 4.0. School was cool. Y'all remember that?
Welcome back to the Summer of Science here on Peralta Matters. I'm your host, Jay Calhoun. We are now joined by Director of Microscopy at Merritt College, Gisele Giorgi. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm great.
To the show.
Thank
Outstanding.
you.
So we've talked about a lot of stuff off camera, and I just told them kind of what you do at Merritt, but tell everybody exactly the full extent of what a Director of Microscopy is.
Yes. Well, I'm fortunate enough to be able to run and also teach in our new microscopy program.
Excellent.
And microscopy is a tool that is used widely in bioscience, in research, biotech companies, and everybody's familiar with the little, we call them baby microscopes, little regular ones. But we have got some really special microscopes that go by the name of imaging systems, because they're, you know, like one of them's $500,000, so it gets its own name, right?
Okay, right. Bob?
It's called my favorite.
Your favorite, right on.
I refer to it as my baby sometimes.
Outstanding.
Because it's so beautiful. And I should say we got it at half off because they believed in our program.
Excellent.
It's a confocal microscope, and what it does is very similar to what MRIs do for you. It does for cells. In other words, it can take slices, images, without hurting you. You put yourself in an MRI, and it comes up with this 3D reconstruction of you.
Truly.
But you're still alive, you're still
right.
fine,
I'm still
right?
here.
Yeah, nothing's happened. But the MRI peers inside of you. Well, the confocal microscope that we have does the same thing for cells and tissues. And so it takes this tiny thing that we can't even see with our own eyes, and it's able to actually look inside of it and give us a 3D reconstruction of that cell that we're interested in. And so that's
you're running all that.
Yes, I run that, and our students learn how to use that microscope, and then they're hot tickets in terms of employment, or they go into research, or they go on to, you know, careers, more school. Depends what their goals are.
Excuse my ignorance, but is microscopy a more newly phenomenal thing? Or
It's totally cutting edge. We're actually the only program in the world that teaches it quite this way.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. We're in the Peralta is starting the trend.
Outstanding.
There's other schools following us, but nobody has the equipment that we have and the training and the in-depth, complete training that we have.
That leads into my next question, which is there has to be some newfound way to attract students in this 21st century age to a subject as serious as science, or even a specialty as much as microscopy.
Right.
What are you doing in your approach to get these students to stay?
What we do, see, the thing is, if you look through one of these scopes, they're fluorescent. The specimens are fluorescent, so they shine bright green and yellow and red and beautiful colors. So really, you get hooked the minute you look through one of the scopes.
Is that how you can just walk in the class, look through a mic, and then
sign up? That's how I got hooked. That's how everybody gets hooked. I can describe them to you till the cows come home, but you look with your own eyes at, you know, like your hair and it's glowing green, or cells or plants or. And on our website, we've got lots of these pretty images, but really there's something about seeing it with your own eyes. So what we do is we have these little baby versions, of our fluorescent scopes that we take out to middle schools and
Really?
expose. We go to middle schools in Oakland and we show the kids their what's what, and they look at their own specimens. They do a little CSI mock-up. You know, it's a dog napping on the Gets Murders.
Okay, excellent.
So they solve the crime of who stole the dog, and then people are hooked, and they see that science. You know, science is fun. It's interesting. It's beautiful. And it can be done by anybody.
Right.
It's just about, do you want to do it, you know?
One of our guests earlier, Sara, said that you're one of the reasons in which she made her decision to do what she's doing. What is the Gisele approach that's getting all these students hooked on what you're doing?
Well, I think it's an easy sell, honestly, because I'm excited about it. I passionately love this technology, and I love it both for the technology it is and for what it allows you to do, because it allows you to ask also just interesting questions. You know, how do we cure cancer? The answer is going to come by using these tools.
Right.
And science is a lot of fun. I find it fun because it's always new. It's always challenging. It's a little bit challenging, and it kind of stretches your brain. And the people are nice, and I think I just expose people to that, and I show them, I mean, my own enthusiasm, and then people find the spark. Like if you're somebody who's kind of a skeptic, who's always asking why, you know, and always wants to know, dive deeper into things, loves mysteries, and loves working with your hand, then science is really a great place for you. And, you know, of course, and then there's jobs, which always attract students, rightly so.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, it's a good thing. So, you know, the combination of it's really fun, there's nice people, and they'll pay you to do this.
It's a win-win, right?
It's a win-win. You know, who doesn't want this?
Excellent, excellent. Well, Gisele, thanks for coming on the show. You did a wonderful job, and thank you again for your service.
Oh, thank you.
No problem.
Welcome.
We'll be right back again with Peralta Matters.
I enrolled into Berkeley City College. I wanted to do something that I felt truly strong and passionate about. I wanted to work with solar energy. This summer I had the opportunity to work at UC Berkeley. It was an internship that my physics teacher told me to apply for. You get to work with the cutting edge of nanotechnology. My next stop, getting a material science and engineering degree at UC Berkeley. My name is Andy Kelly. Berkeley City College transformed my life.
It's been a long time.
It's the return of GLP. Start feeling easy, like, ground level perspective, we back, man. I am your host, Kim Wilson.
I still have to start at the ground level.
Ground level perspective. The wait is over, time is here. What's happening with you?
Pleasure, man, to see you balling like this.
This is ground level perspective.
Follow procedures. The crowd couldn't wait to see this. Nobody been much longer waited since Jesus. Who wouldn't believe this? I heard the word on the...
Welcome back to Peralta Matters. I want to thank all the students and all the instructors here on our Summer of Science. Until the next time, please do something that matters.
Peralta TV, programs that matter.